Like,
really?
You know what I'm saying? You know how you doing a test, Skip, and you remember like, oh, yeah, and then you go all the way back. Like, yeah.
It's funny how you remembered that after he glanced at my notes.
No, I can't read
Right?
that. I can't read that
Skip,
mess.
I can't. I have no idea what's going on there. No idea. But it looks like you're prepared. So let's get on with the show today. Busy show. Guys, I want to talk about this. Does Drake need to chill out a little bit? Is he a little bit too much? We'll talk about that. Snoop Dogg will be in studio with us later. Can't wait. But we start with number 2. The Raptors are 7-point underdogs in Milwaukee tonight as they look for their 3rd straight win in the series. All eyes will be on Kawhi Leonard's latest mysterious injury. Kawhi limped his way through both of Toronto's home wins and only scored 19 points in Game 4. But he's been able to slow down the Greek freak on the defensive end. Coach Nick Nurse did not sound worried about his superstar because yesterday he said, quote, he's feeling good. No concerns at this point. So, Shannon, how concerned should Toronto be about Kawhi's health?
I believe they should be very concerned. Skip, there's something clearly wrong with this young man. I don't believe, I didn't see him this hobbled in Orlando. I didn't see him this hobbled in Philly. But all of a sudden now we're to believe that everything is A-OK with him. Skip, he's playing since the start of the Philly series. He's averaging 40 minutes a night. And those are not 40 minutes a night just on the offensive end. He has a very tough assignment because he was guarding the team's other best players. He had Ben Simmons on occasion. He took Jimmy Butler. And this series, he spent a lot of time guarding Giannis. Giannis is not playing very well when he's matched up against Kawhi. So they're asking an awful lot of him. But I think here's the big reason. Skip, you know in the regular season, the most consecutive games he played was 9. Since the start of the playoffs, we're at 16. So we're asking him to do something. He's played 34 minutes a game in the regular season. Now he's 39.5 in the playoffs.
Is that just because he's so fragile, or what? What are we talking about?
Yo, he might,
I don't know, because I've never heard of this before.
Right, it might be. He's fragile, and now you're asking him, look, it's like having a 30-year-old car and trying to drive cross country. Yeah, it might look nice, it might be a classic, but do you really want to trust it to drive cross country? Yeah, he's an all-time great player. But, Skip, there's a reason why he missed 22 regular season games, and a lot of it was because of what? The old load management. They were preparing for this. And even though they prepared by giving him 22 days off, now maybe some he earned, but there's a reason why they gave him a lot of load management, because they knew this day would come, these days were coming. Also what's working against him, you're playing every other day. You know, in the first round, you might get 2 days, you probably might get 3 at the most, so you got enough ample time to recover. You're going every other day. And Golden State's just sitting back, they got their heels kicked up. Just resting, just waiting on somebody to bash them in. He doesn't have that luxury. I know what Nick Nurse is saying. He said everything is good, and that's what he's supposed to say. He doesn't want to put that, he doesn't want to, like, he's making excuses if they don't win, if Kawhi doesn't play well. I get that. But Kawhi Leonard, he's laboring. He's hurt. I know that. I don't believe he's faking. And if I'm a Raptors fan, I'm very concerned, even though Nick Nurse, the head coach, is trying to reassure me that everything's okay.
So,
Okay?
obviously, I do not love this guy because obviously I believe with all my heart and soul he quit on my Spurs last year under these same circumstances of mysterious injury, hurt, not hurt. I opt last year on not hurt at all. I opt on thigh bruise at worst that you could play with, and he sat for 73 games as he was cleared game after game after game by the most conservative, player-friendly medical staff in all of sports, the Spurs staff. So here we go. I'm watching my worst nightmare all over again. But today I'm trying to be open-minded to your take on it. You're saying he's hurt. You are convinced, heart and soul, he is hurt.
Right.
Because he is the limping legend. We have seen him limp through the last 2 games. He dunks and he limps. He explodes to the basket, he lifts, and he limps.
He kind of looked like Kurt Gibson rounding those bases.
Okay, all right. But Kurt Gibson had a pulled hamstring. And I'm pretty sure he was hurt because he didn't play the whole game until he pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th against Dennis Eckersley. Okay? This is different because this coach, Nick Nurse, and he's a first-year coach, he is giving him no breaks on injuries. He's giving him zero excuse. He's not even giving a hint that this guy has any issue. And I'm going to say it again. Another day has passed without number 2 appearing on the Raptors' official injury report. There's no hint of a knee, of a thigh, of a calf. There's no hint of anything on the official injury report. Not one little word has come out of the head coach's mouth that indicates he's anything but just fine. He said yesterday he's absolutely okay. He is good to go. Period. End of story. Just to juxtapose that, could I quickly read a quote from Nick Nurse yesterday on his 5-time All-Star Kyle Lowry, who's playing with a busted thumb, a left thumb injury, on which he's wearing something that looks like an oven mitt, and he's still getting you 31 game and 25 last game. Here's the quote from Nick Nurse on Kyle Lowry. Kyle's hand is not great. It's hurt, and it's sore, and it causes him a lot of pain. But he seems to be able to manage it through the game and do what he can do. He's obviously scoring and playing great on top of the other things he always does. And we're really seeing a heck of a lot of toughness. And again, the spirit that he just wants to be out there and help his team any way he can. Why would he gush about the toughness, the grit, the play through the pain that he's seeing from his 5-time All-Star, yet he will give no quarter, no qualm, he gives no hint of injury to number 2? Why would that be? And I'll take it a step further in the bigger picture. I'm going to guess here that Nick Nurse is on his way to running number 2 straight out of town. Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay,
now you're talking.
Number 2 needs the excuse. He wants his Greg Popovich, his new pop, to back him, to say, oh, he's gutting. He wants this quote that I just read on Kyle Lowry to be about him. Well, and he's getting 0 from his head coach or his medical staff. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. But I believe, Skip, it's easier to play if you're a basketball player with an injury on your non-shooting hand than it is to play with lower extremity injuries.
Okay, fine. Still, why? I'm going to give you this one more time. And you couldn't answer it yesterday because the truth is there's no good answer for this.
So you believe, so in other words, he's faking. You and Nick Nurse.
Time out. Okay, just remember, actions spoke even louder than Nick Nurse's words.
Right.
Because with 7:33 left in the game the other night, game, what are we, 4? Game 4, the second game in Toronto, they were up 16 mid-4th quarter.
Okay.
It's becoming a blowout. I'm not saying it had gone all the way into full-on blowout, but it's becoming a blowout. If he's trying to hide an injury that number 2 has suffered or protect him in any way, shape, or form, if he did say after the game he's tired. Well, if he's tired and you've got it all the way to 16, why would you reinsert him into the basketball game? You just wouldn't.
Because here's the thing, Skip. I don't know if you watched that game closely.
Did I watch the game closely? I live and die with every game.
You saw they were up 16 in the second quarter, and they cut it to 2.
Okay.
They were 16 in the third quarter, and they cut it to 2.
Okay, but if you have lower leg extremity issues going on, you just suck it up if you're the coach and you bite your lip and you hope that you can figure out how to get it home and not risk hurting him more.
Well,
right?
You figure out how you can get it home. Let me put Kawhi back in there. Let me see if I can get it to 22-24, and then I can get him out, say, with 4 minutes. Okay, that's what happened. They were able to get Kawhi out of the ball game. Skip, there's no way that this young man, if this is, he should be in Hollywood. He should quit basketball because this is the greatest acting job
Okay,
in
I'll
history.
give you acting job. I'm going to say, I've used this story once before a long time ago on the show. I'm going to say it again. This is going back to his final year in San Antonio. This was in January. The situation hadn't turned full-on ugly just yet. But number 2 had been cleared by that medical staff for a full basketball activity with what had been termed as a thigh contusion first. This is thigh contusion. So I spoke to a doctor I have known for a long time who had carefully examined that thigh, and I'm just telling you what he told me. You can take it or leave it, but he told me, I can find nothing wrong with his thigh. I think it's all in his head. That's what he told me. That was quote unquote from a guy I've known for a long time. I know him very well. And that means it's psychosomatic. That means you're imagining that you have an injury. and he didn't know anything about pressure, whatever, then I extrapolated that into he's just feeling the huge new heat of this was supposed to be his year, his team, with our man Chris Broussard saying he's going to win MVP this year. And I thought he was crumbling under that pressure. Now, bottom line to this story, that doctor then called me back about a month later and he said, well, and he took the party line. And he said, I am finding a little issue in there, and he called it tendinosis.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what is tendinosis? Well, he's got a little bit of inflammation in there somewhere, and it was hazy to me, and it wasn't convincing what he told me. It felt like he had been told by the people above him, make it clear to everybody on the outside he does have some kind of issue, because they were afraid he was going completely south, as in, I'm not going to play another game for you because you don't believe me.
Right.
So I'm seeing it all over again. They believed, Tony Parker believed, Manu Ginobili believed in the end that he was just imagining the injury. I don't know if there's a difference between faking or imagining. I don't know. Maybe he believes in his head that he has something going wrong because he's crumbling under the pressure to win Game 3 and Game 4 at home when they're down 0-2. Could be. That's just my take.
What about
because the movement doesn't show me lower leg injury.
Okay, well, Skip, what about the pressure to win when they were down, when they had lost the second game going to Philly? What was the pressure? Why didn't he start letting
It wasn't the conference finals yet, yet.
But hold on. If they have the second best record, they had the second best record in all of basketball.
Okay, but remember, it was 1-1 after when they went to Philly.
Right.
And then
it was 2-1.
2-1, and then they won a game
exactly.
in Philly.
So why didn't he start limping when
because
it was 2-1?
the pressure had mounted. The pressure, when you're down 0-2 at going home, now the world had said, remember, the world hadn't yet proclaimed him the MVP of the playoffs until he hit the luckiest shot in the history of the world. Then everybody leaped on the bandwagon and say, aha, number 2 is winning it all. He is the new guy. He's the new LeBron James.
The thing is, Skip, this is what I know. After playing NFL football for 14 years, nobody knows your body like you know it. Now, I know what doctors, and they went to school. They did residencies, and they spent the better part of their life studying the body and knowing. But when they give you a diagnosis, and when they say they give you a prognosis, says you should be able to come back in 6 to 8, or 8 to 12, or 6 months, that's their best guess educated. That's their best educated guess. There's no guarantee, Skip. It might take me